Good afternoon and welcome to Aggie Now, your source for all things Aggie.
In Davis Digest this week, after a month-long occupation of Chancellor Katehi's office, it seems as though the protest for her resignation will continue. Various staff members within MRAC Hall have complained about the occupation, citing smells, the food from the protesters, garbage, bathroom use, and some have even claimed to have been harassed. One staff member has filed a grievance. The march that occurred last week also resulted in some protesters being arrested. After various demonstrations and marches, is it time for the protest and the occupation to end? Currently, the protesters aren't looking like they want to end. You've all been getting the emails from people, the chancellor and the provost and things like that, talking about how like these occupiers are like gross or how they're harassing or they're like taking over the bathrooms and stuff. Well, the Fire Katehi protesters, they have a Facebook group and they replied to a lot of these complaints. So like on the issue of like uncleanliness and odors, they said, and I quote here, we have regular cleaning sprees, sort through our garbage, work with nighttime custodial staff, and attempt to execute a system of cleanliness. That being said, we are students, community members, and campus employees, and we have just as many responsibilities as the next campus affiliate. Sometimes, shit stinks, but we're people too, and have respect for ourselves and for others. We are humans, not the animals and degenerates the administration paints us to be. And I think that's pretty fair. They're trying to clean up. What I know about like the Occupy protests is that like oftentimes it was like a community and you had like teams set up to do specific tasks like cleaning. And I know some of the people in the MRAC protests they prefer to be called an occupation at this point.
Right.
And they're pretty upset at like the way that like the emails that you've been getting have been like painting them and stuff like that. I just want to talk about one last thing that they said. It's their mission statement, and they put this at the end of their response to the email from the provost, and they said, "We do not respect the administration's complicity with the general degradation and privatization of our public education. It is important we articulate this again to respond and combat the tone and complaints by the provost. We want to emphasize that we have been maintaining a now 28-day sit-in because we are deeply concerned about the way our university is being run. We are forcefully inserting ourselves because students and worker voices should be at the center of how a university is run. We have been in the office of the chancellor for 28 days because we believe that we can positively reassert the student worker voice, not because we enjoy sleeping in MRAC Hall."
Right.
No, I think there's a lot of gaps that are kind of missing between these. Both sides are obviously really fired up and just really eager to bring their points across. I think what people are missing is that they're talking about completely different things. These occupiers are talking about, okay, Katehi's not fit, we are here to bring our cause. But then the school administration are actually complaining that these people are, they're making their job a little more difficult, like they couldn't access their offices, people have to be moved someplace else, there is a lot of traffic going in and out of Mac Hall, then that involves safety, and also there are also news that a lot of people are not actually from UC Davis and all of that. And also staying overnight, that means the school has to allocate staff to take care of these people, and that also costs money. And cleaning, well, the cleaners have to clean either way. So with just more people, it's a little harder for them to clean. So what I feel I got from the letters of administration is more just, okay, you all have to kind of calm down and just don't do it this way.
Yeah.
And
but that's like the thing about like protests and occupation is that like oftentimes the people being protested or being occupied are like, oh my god, this is such a inconvenience to me in my daily life. Like, wow, what is this thing? I'm like, well, that's like the point of protest and occupation is to be an
I was just
inconvenience.
gonna say the same thing. It's like, what is the point of having this kind of a movement if it's not meant to actually make some kind of an impact, whether it's understanding that there's a presence there. And another thing too is like, if you're going to put out an email that's going to focus on custodial staff, you should probably make sure that like you have like, for example, like custodial staff signatures on there and things like that. And another thing, pay them more.
Yep.
It's almost like, it's really funny because it's like, like now we're worried about our custodial staff.
Yeah.
Now we're worried about, their well-being and health. Why don't they get as much compensation as they deserve? Why are the benefits not there for them? Like, those questions I have. It's like administration is now making it sound as though, we are the victims of this entire situation, when in reality, there was a recent article that came out that administration across all fronts is making twice or I think it's like triple the money that students typically pocket.
Wow.
What is that? And,
Yeah.
You know, and I hear these reasonings from students who are like, you know, I was looking at some of the comments because some of the articles that came out showed different student opinions. And my biggest thing was like, if you've never gone and actually experienced it, if you have not actually gone in and talked to the occupiers, you really don't have an opinion. Because for me, it's like, how do you know what you have to say if you've not been in that room and sat in with them? I was able to cover it for Aggie Studios, you know, and I try to take a really unbiased stance on these things, although I do work in social activism, and I feel like the biggest thing for me was seeing that space. It's not as aggressive as people painted it to be, or
No.
people are making it look like,
Yeah.
you know. This is a mentally draining experience to sit in there instead of going to class, but they're doing it not just for UC Davis, but to show that the whole university system and their selection of chancellors and their understanding of how to approve them is messed up.
Yeah, and
So
I think
it's like a larger project, and people are like, they gotta go because all they're talking about is Katay.
exactly.
No,
And it's like,
it's a bigger reason.
what if the administration met them halfway? Like, okay, so the administration doesn't want to fire Katehi. Fair enough. Like, if that's their one thing that they won't budge on, well, then the other thing the protesters or the occupiers want is to redo the process that picks chancellors. Right now, the UC regents vote, and we don't get a say.
Right.
Right. But they could at least agree to change that system and allow the students and the workers to have a say in who our chancellor is. You know, and we could meet halfway, but they're not having that dialogue. And oftentimes the administration will paint the occupiers and the protesters as saying, like, you know, they won't have dialogue with us. They're like too rowdy, or they don't want to like sit and talk to us. Well, I think it might be because when you do talk to them, you're often telling them to get out, or you're telling that you're not going to budge on your issues. But like, there needs to be some kind of consensus here. You know, this is our university. It's not your university.
Things just got a little more complicated as there's a counter movement called
Right.
the EMP and MRAC protest that just started, and the page is slowly growing. It hasn't gotten as many views and light as the Fire Katehi page, but a lot of people are slowly speaking up after perhaps choosing to stay quiet or neutral in fear of being in the wrong, or just, I'm scared to maybe what if the occupiers are right? What if I'm on their side? Well, what if I'm on Katay's side? I'm not really well informed, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But then there are also those people who are just against how these protesters / occupiers are doing it.
Yeah.
So
And
they're not entirely against.
it's not just the
Yeah.
students, like even the
Yeah.
professors are split. Like the humanities
Right,
professors
right.
and the science
Yeah.
department professors, they've each, like 30 professors on each side have come up with columns either for or against her.
Yeah.
The humanities for Fire Katehi, the science department professors against Fire Katehi.
Yeah.
I think it's just against the movement. It's not exactly against pro or against Katehi
It's how
herself.
they're
It's just
handling
Yeah.
how
It's
they're
how
doing
the
it.
movement's
Yeah.
escalating.
I personally, I might get burned for this, but I really don't like the way they're doing it. I feel like there's a lot more. I don't know, a lot more respectful way to do it. I guess I come from a culture where we really have to respect authority, even if the authority's not really great. It's just a lot harder to go against authority. So I feel like for those people to kind of disrespect the administration, which I believe, I guess, is how it works in a lot of countries. But just me personally, I feel like
Fight
it's
the
very
system.
strange and hard. It's a very hard thing to digest for me. So I would go about it a different way if I do feel as strongly. And definitely I would not.
That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
I
I'm like,
do not agree
Yeah.
with all the drawing all over campus. I feel like with all the new freshmen coming here and looking around, it is such a bad sight. And Riley, you work with the tours.
So thank you for bringing that up. I was completely fine with it. You know, it's great. You can have your opinions. You can, if you want to skip class and go live
Right.
in a, office building, good for you. More power to you. If you can gather 50 people to come live with you outside of an office, like, good for you. But they come after our tour group. So I'll be on the quad, just saying, here's South Hall, this is where the ICC is, and they'll come scream at us on decision day. That's the day where we invite every single admitted student to campus. We had over 6,000 visitors. They were handing out flyers as we were on tours, and I told my group, you don't have to take the flyers. And the girl passing them out was like, actually, we're gonna give them out anyways. So on every tour, I explain why they're there, like how UC Davis fosters this community of being able to express your opinions. If you have a problem with the chancellor, by all means, go live outside her door. But they came into the Welcome Center. We do a presentation before every single tour. They came into the Welcome Center that had closed doors, and my bosses were trying to not physically block them, but just say, hey, please don't come in here. We have a presentation going on. Katehi is not in here. And they started banging on the doors, and one girl inside of there was so scared, she left her purse and ran out.
Oh my God.
Like, if they're in there and all they hear is people banging on the doors and screaming, that's so terrifying, and that accomplishes nothing.
Yeah.
So that was the turning point for me, where I was like,
Oh, fair
surely
enough.
there's a better way we can go about this. Good for you for having this belief to stand up in, but maybe do so differently in a way where you're not scaring 40 people into not applying to Davis.
Yeah, like the United States has a long history with protest. That's like what this whole country is like founded on, the idea that like we should be allowed to protest, and like oftentimes protest is not like a pretty thing, and it's often violent and it's often aggressive, and even like the civil rights protests, like people always talk about like the civil rights. Well, like we live in a different time now, you know, and maybe those kinds of protests aren't working anymore.
Yeah.
If we had those kinds of protests, maybe they wouldn't even listen to us anymore. You know, protest is an ugly thing, to be honest with you, and it's like. It's hard to accept that like the violence is almost a necessity in order to be heard, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, and just one last thing from me on my end, just as a new idea as well, and something just as food for thought, is that this institution specifically was not made for everyone. Institutions in general were made specifically for white men. And so I think that that's a really, really important thing to keep in mind when understanding where people come from, whether their aggressiveness, their violence, or their internalized kind of like fears or feelings about certain things come from a deeper place. It's not just like, again, if they're banging on those doors or, you know, trying to get attention, it's not just because we're trying to drum up something too. There's actually emotional investment in some of these things. Just like, you know, folks who are emotionally invested in being tour guides or, you know, coming from a culture where this type of stuff doesn't exist. In some cases, these university systems were not made for people of color, right? And so a lot of this movement had to do with some of those issues coming to light as well. And so you have to understand that that's an angle, that's a feeling, and that's a perspective that exists, is that this wasn't made for everyone. So it's kind of like coming here is not necessarily a privilege. Everyone should have a right to an education. So everyone should have a right to be able to understand how that system works and what goes in it and what comes out of it.
Yeah.
And that's just how I see it. It's like nothing will ever really get done unless you make some kind of a stand. But it's good to hear all different perspectives and viewpoints. That's important moving forward to show that the whole school, everyone has kind of like different ideas of where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So for the no, this month we have the annual Stride for Aggie Pride 5K, which is on April 24th at the Quad. Registration is $10 for early birds and $15 at the race on the day of. This is a 5K run and walk open to the entire community, and all proceeds will go towards scholarship funds.
Are you running in it?
No, actually I am. I'm actually starting a Phil-Am team, but it's open to all communities, but we're going to go ahead and run it together. Something that I wanted to try this quarter is to be a little bit more active, so like I'm taking a lifetime fitness class, and so I think like this is a great opener to start running again, because I used to do track, so this should be really fun.
Also in the know today, we would like to highlight one of many Facebook pages that brightens Students' Day. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you Miguel's chest.
Oh my gosh, this is a story on, okay. What are we talking about?
We're talking about your chest, obviously.
It's not here today.
There is an entire Facebook page dedicated to our anchor Miguel's chest, who is hiding today. The creator and contributors are still unknown, but the page is full of deep quotes concerning equality for all chests. And last time I checked, they were looking for interns, chest turns.
Yeah, so all I know is that it's a community of people and you can be a part of it if you want to. I don't know who runs it. I have a feeling it's some of my interns. I'm not gonna name names, but I have a feeling it's one of them that's like in charge of it. But yeah, it's really cool.
Your chest is a meme now. That's great, dude.
Yeah, well, cause like
you've ascended.
So I have this motto. So like I'm really awkward when it comes to skin, and like I don't typically wear tank tops or I don't typically wear things that show too much skin. But the only like type of skin I'm comfortable showing is like my chest, in various forms. So if it's like
my heart.
Yeah, whether it's like a little kind of like lower cut, whether it's a V-neck, whether it's like asymmetrical or like something like different, I'm kind of into that. So.
So you're a chess guy.
Yeah, I am.
Chess be yourself.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's actually one of the first posts I read in there. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty insightful. Sometimes it's a lot more creative and inspiring than I am. So.
Okay.
Moving on to halftime, we had some big Aggie wins last week. So our baseball team beat the University of San Francisco 50-3, and Cameron Olsen is the first Aggie in 15 years to hit for the cycle. Do you want to guess what that means? Don't look.
Why are you always asking me to guess these
Don't look.
things? That's
What does
not
it mean?
fair.
What does it mean to hit for the
Okay,
cycle?
I sound like I don't know anything about sports. Okay, cycle. It's we're biking. Is that it?
No, we're talking about
That's right.
baseball. Baseball.
Oh, okay.
Stop looking.
Okay, sorry. Cycle is when you.
So you hit for the
this-
cycle.
Oh, you hit for the cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Oh.
you. It's you.
So he did this at 4 at-bats.
4 at bats.
Yeah.
None of this makes sense. I just want you to know, like, none of it is
Right.
making any sense in my
Do
head.
either of you want to guess?
I think I should know this, but I don't know this. I'm
Is it
really
like-
Is it a
embarrassed.
home
actually.
run?
Is it
Where
like a-
everybody goes out?
Oh my gosh, but you do it 4 times, like
No.
in a row. It's a cycle of like home runs.
So
Am I close?
sort of.
Let me see.
Wait,
okay.
did he hit like
You're thinking of
a-
grand slam?
Did he hit
Oh.
But
like?
you hit for the cycle, that means you hit a single, a double, a triple, and a home
Yeah,
run.
that's what I was about to
Same
say. Dang
Those
it,
are-
you took it right out of my.
Those sound like ice cream scoops.
What does it even mean? A single, a double, a triple?
He got on first base, and then the second time he was at bat, he got on second
game.
base.
You
And
have to
then,
do it in order.
oh, really?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then he just got on all the bases in one game.
I
right?
mean, I watched a couple of baseball games, mainly from High School Musical, but
Yeah, I don't know if that
I don't
counts.
know.
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't
Baseball
see any
is-
of that.
Yeah, was that?
Yeah,
There
High
was
School Musical
basketball.
too. Hey, better, hey, that song.
Swing. I know
Oh.
that song.
I've only ever seen the first one, so.
What?
Yeah.
Also, in some exciting news, we have a UC Davis baseball alum who's made it to the major leagues. He pitched a perfect 9th inning for the Toronto Blue Jays last week, and he joins 3 other Davis baseball
What's his name?
players. Joe Biagini.
Nice. The funny thing about playing for the Toronto Blue Jays is that they play on turf. So when you watch the MLB teams like go up to Toronto,
Fake grass.
it's fake grass,
Just
yeah.
wanted Tanya to know.
Yeah, just in case she. Yeah, man, of course. But when they go up to play in Toronto, they don't know how the ball interacts with the turf, so like they'll miss a lot of ground balls and stuff like that. It's really funny. Is he gonna be a closer?
But yes, well,
Dude.
right now he is.
Yes.
He's been a few
That's
years
so
in the
cool.
minors.
Wow.
Go
Closers.
Okay, let me just fill you in baseball. There's like so much terminology. Like
Yeah.
even I've been watching baseball since I was a kid, and I still don't know all of it. It's ridiculous.
I guess the main stuff is just the 4 bases and a home run,
Oh my
right?
god.
Hmm.
And a bat, obviously.
And like the outs and the strikes and the pitches.
He came in as a closer, but who knows, maybe he'll make
Yeah.
the rotation. So we'll see
Yeah.
where he goes from here. And finally, our women's lacrosse team picked up a huge 7-5 win over Cal.
Yeah.
So highly competitive, and they got one more home game this Tuesday, the 19th, at 4 p.m. So come check it out.
Okay, and we are back with our 30-second challenge where our anchor tries to answer as many questions as they can in 30 seconds. On the hot seat today is Miguel.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Okay, let me pull this
Okay.
up.
I'm ready.
You gotta do
Okay.
some like exercises first.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Set, go.
What did you eat this morning?
Nothing. Oh, Red Bull. Get a Red Bull.
Favorite animal?
Oh, but pandas.
Favorite
Pandas.
body part?
Oh, chest.
Favorite color?
Oh, rose pink.
Stranded on an island, who would you be stranded with?
Oh my gosh. Leonardo DiCaprio.
What?
Yes.
Snapchat or Instagram?
Instagram. Oh my gosh.
5 seconds.
Facebook or Twitter?
Facebook. I don't even have a Twitter. I don't know how to tweet.
Juice or soda?
Juice. Soda
Stop.
makes me bloated.
Dude, okay. On the deserted island one, you had a couple more options than Leonardo DiCaprio. Let's be real here.
I'm sorry. I was
Wouldn't
trying.
if you're
Are
gonna
you trying to
go
be a
with
rose?
if you're gonna go with movie celebrities, wouldn't you want to go with Tom Hanks because he has some experience?
No, I would not want to go with Tom Hanks.
He would know how to survive on an island, man.
No, I
he
know.
did it in a movie.
But I mean, like, I just honestly, I think that was just like surface level. Like, who's the next cutest thing that I think about in my head? And I was
That's
like,
your
oh, Leonardo
celebrity
DiCaprio.
crush?
No, it's
I
not.
don't know.
It's actually he's the lead from my best friend's wedding, Julia Roberts. I forget his name. It's like
Oh, that
Oh,
guy.
that guy.
Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
He starts
Okay,
singing
if
that
any
song
of you
in
are
that
fans
one
of, like,
scene.
my best friend's wedding. He was in A Family Stone. It was just everything. He's
He's that British dude, right? Or are you talking about the guy that she falls in love with in My Best Friend's Wedding?
No, that's the guy, like her best friend.
Oh, her best friend. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that guy's pretty handsome, I'm not gonna lie.
Super.
Guy's a fair-looking young man.
I changed my mind. It's him.
I mean, old man. He's
Sorry,
old
Leo.
now.
Well, this has been an episode of Aggie Now. Everyone, please be safe during your festivities for this week's picnic day. My name is Miguel Bagset.
I'm Riley Applewhite.
I'm Kevin Dusso.
And I'm Tanya Josephine. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Aggie Now, and be sure to grab your latest copy of The Beat.